This is Horns Up, and we're playing it fast, heavy, and fucking awesome on this episode, thanks to an album that I was extremely shocked about. It's called The Affair of the Poisons, and it's the second full length album from one man project, Hellripper. One of the albums to really hit the sweet spot this year, right, Peter? And that's saying something.
Hellripper comes with, some great releases. So of course you expect nothing but just fast in your face, dirty black metal with mixed with thrash metal, I guess.
Also, what's great about being a one man project, well, it's the very fact that it makes contacting and talking to the project easier. And that's exactly what we did. We reached out to James McBain, and boom, here's that conversation. Fair warning, and I must apologize to James. We aren't that much older than you, and sorry for almost being uncleish in this conversation. But yeah, here we fucking go.
Hi James, welcome to Horns Up. How are you doing today?
Hi there. Thank you for having me on. I'm doing very well, thank you. It's raining here, but that's the usual.
UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, how I hated that rain. Anyways, James, I'd like to just quickly begin by checking up and just making sure that I'm telling the right story or that we are telling the right story. So I wanted to check, how old were you when you started life as Hellripper?
I think technically it started in 2014, so I think I was 19, probably 18, 19. But I started, that was when Hellripper officially started.
Okay.
I had like ideas for Hellripper a couple of years previously.
Mm-hmm.
I recorded an EP maybe when I was 17 or 18, and I wasn't happy with the results, so I waited a year or so. Like I gave up for a year and then carried on, and then that's when I would say Hellripper officially started.
Okay.
So around 18 years old, 19 I think.
Okay, so that would make you what, 24 to 25 right now?
25, yeah.
Damn, I feel
Animesh, just go burn your bass guitar. Like throw all your equipment away.
And so here's the funny thing, right? Like over the last 5 to 6 years especially, you take the words one man project, right, in the hard rock, metal, heavy guitar realm as such, and you really only hear about bedroom project turn live acts. Like, so you've got your Cloud Kickers, you've got your Plinies, and of course,
Yeah.
like, were to turn back the clock, you'd get people like Putrid Pile to an extent, who were doing heavy guitar one man projects.
Mm-hmm.
The larger question really is, being so young, how did you choose to spend your life in this manner? Because obviously, this is something that you're now choosing to do full time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the second question then becomes, what really is driving you?
Okay. Really, the reason that I started like as a solo project was simply because I didn't know much other people that were into similar music as me. So I had tried to start bands with friends since I was 14 years old or so. And yeah, the main problem was always finding a drummer. I think many people can relate to that. There's not many drummers, and especially when you're like young, when you're 14, 15, it's quite hard because you're not like in a bigger scene. Because obviously when I was at that age, I wasn't really involved with the local scene because I was too young to get into some of the venues and things like that. So yeah, it was basically out of necessity, like just to try it on my own. And I was also curious. Like, I also wanted to learn how to record and mix things at home, and I thought like they went together. I thought I could do both. I could learn how to mix and record and things like that while putting out the music that I wanted to make. And yeah, just from there, I enjoy it so much. Like music, of course, is like my main passion, my main hobby. So it's being on my own. I don't have to rely on anyone, like deadlines, like studio deadlines, studio costs, other people's schedules. Yeah, it's convenient for me. It's just a way of doing my hobby and my passion, really, and that's basically what's driving me as well. I just enjoy doing it. I really like the process. Over the years, I've got more used to the process. So yeah, it's kind of just became like a natural thing for me now. I find it easier to work on my own rather than with other people. So yeah, that's just driving me that I enjoy doing it simply.
Cool. I absolutely buy that. Now, this is something that Peter and I keep discussing, or largely it's I keep bringing up this point that technology today is so cool because it has, absolutely democratized uh, so many skills, and so many just made everything so much more easier.
Mhm.
uh, I understand that you write most of your stuff on guitar tablature software, right?
Yeah.
And that's also why, I'm guessing programming MIDI drums, etc., all of that comes easier to you or naturally to you because you're also born in an age where,
Yeah.
of your age. I'd also see people of our age, but whatever. uh, just get technology, right? So it makes it a lot more easier.
I
So
think
here's a slightly, I don't know, it's not a philosophical question as much as it is just trying to understand where you're coming from or your mentality. Do you think if you were born, say, in the 80s or in the 70s, you would still be doing a one man thing?
um possibly. I mean, yeah, because it's so easy nowadays with the all the software and everything, you can anyone can like kind of get decent results at home. It's not difficult. It's not too difficult to learn. Whereas, I mean, yeah, if you're in the 80s and things, yeah, you really had to hire a studio, and
Yeah.
in the equipment is of course like all analog and more expensive, more difficult to use. I think I've never used analog equipment, so I think yeah, it's just yeah, I couldn't tell you. Maybe I wouldn't be doing it by myself in the 80s or whatever, but yeah, nowadays it's definitely, I think it's easier to use to get decent results from the equipment that is available
Of
at a more reasonable price as well. So it's, I think, yeah, anyone that's born or grew up in like my era or like an era where computers and things were always a thing. I mean, I've had a computer since I was like uh, 10 or so, so like I've always known that.
exactly.
I've never had to adapt
Yeah.
and learn later on and stuff. So yeah, I think definitely I think I have an advantage, like, and my generation have an advantage, I would say.
Yeah. But of course, the disclaimer always is that although the tools, it's only, you know, they're only as good as how much you can use them to get what you want out of them, right? And obviously, on that regard, what you've been doing with Hellripper and with your other projects also, that's just in a completely different league. Wouldn't you agree, Peter? Right? I mean, he's been
Yeah.
prolific in the last 5 years.
True. I mean, like that's one of the things. I mean, actually, while we were talking, and I've been at least following this kind of sound with the black thrash, right? I mean, Joel Grind of Toxic Holocaust. He also comes to mind with that kind of work ethic. And I still remember there was a certain struggle he went through while he was doing everything on his own, and then he got like other musicians and all on board.
Yeah.
But coming back to you, I mean, I've been following your career at least for the last couple of years, and one thing I've noticed is since you've started Hellripper, every year there's like a new EP or album, and in some cases there's been more than one. So what's the secret? I mean, if you could tell us.
I mean, it's really it's just because that's all I do. Really, I'm always writing, always recording. That's my hobby. So I'm always doing it. So it'd be difficult to get an album out every year, but it is cool to have 1, 2, 3, 4 new songs out each year. But yeah, the simple answer is it's just because it's what I do all the time. It's my hobby. So whenever I have free time, I'm playing guitar, listening to music, getting inspiration, like that. So it's basically it just consumes my life. So it's basically it's basically all that I do and all that I like think about. So yeah.
Okay. So having said that, how do you organize your time, man, across so many different projects? Like, are you one of those people who's like a slave to their calendars as such, and every minute of every day is accounted for, or one of those who just does things depending on what you feel like? Oh, today I'm in a fucking trashy mood. I'm gonna write some Hellripper.
Yeah, it's basically that way. At first, when I released and started like all these different projects, like 3 or 4 different things were happening at the same time. It was because I had just gotten into the home recording and just kind of learned what to do. So I was like at a really creative moment, and like ideas were coming at me like from everywhere of all sorts of styles and things. And of course I'd had ideas for years before that. Like it was like my whole life's worth of ideas really. So I managed to get quite a lot of different things done at the start. Whereas now, since Hellrippers is growing, I've devoted more of my time to Hellripper. So yeah, I mainly focus on Hellripper, and when I'm inspired or creative or feeling inspired for like a different style of music, I do that. But yeah, I don't do things according to like a calendar. Like I have to do death metal here, I have to do Hellripper here. It's just really what comes to me. And yeah, as Hellripper's grown, it's became my main focus, and it's made me more inspired. I think as Hellripper's grown, it kind of took my creative flow from like all the other genres, and I've just focused it onto Hellripper, which I think has helped. But I'm still interested in doing the other stuff. It's just that, yeah, the lack of time and the lack of, mainly the lack of time, really. Just because I want to focus on growing Hellripper. But there is other stuff coming. Like I'm in the middle of writing a few other things right now. But they come slowly.
Are you one of those people who would like 26 or 30 hours in a day?
Mm-hmm. I think so. It'd be handy. It'd definitely be helpful, I think. But especially these last couple of weeks, and with the new album, it's kind of, I've been busier than I've ever been before with like press things and packing the orders and promotional things and all that. It's everything kind of got stepped up to 11 in that respect. So yeah, the last few weeks I've been doing nothing but packing orders and speaking to people on social media, like answering like fans and promoting.
So it's not just one man in terms of the music, but it's also one man in terms of the entire look, feel, touch.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Up until last year, I think. Yeah, up until last year when I released the EP, I was basically doing everything. I was doing all the promotion, well, the majority of the promotion. Of course, all the labels that I work with and stuff help out, like, and do like the label duties and stuff like that. But I would also do promotion. I was in charge of booking shows. I'm in charge of the social media and everything. But over the when I signed with the last EP, Reaper Metal Productions, they handled a lot of the promotion and the press kind of things, which helped a lot. And of course, the new album with Peaceville, they've done a lot in terms of promotion, distribution, and everything like that. So yeah, but even I've still been busy.
Awesome.
Yeah, which kind of brings us to our next question. I mean, one of the things about the affairs of the Poisons is that it's your first release after signing to Peaceful Records. And one thing I was really glad about is that has had zero impact on your sound. But which prompts me to my question. I mean, after years of doing it the DIY route, what prompted you to sign with the larger label now, after all these years?
Yeah, it's mainly they can do things that I can't, or like a smaller label can't. They've got far more distribution worldwide. I mean, one of the things that I've always hated is that fans can't get the albums at like a reasonable price. Especially, I mean, if people want to buy the album from me from the US, the shipping is horrible. The prices are horrible. So Peaceville have got, like, of course, like lots of stores worldwide and in loads of countries that people can get the album from. Of course, their promotion, they can do far more than I can in terms of promotion. They have more contacts than me, and it also like brings for lack of a better word, an air of legitimacy to the band. If you're signed to like a bigger label or a reputable label, people take more notice of you, like, as opposed to thinking, oh, that guy's just a guy in his bedroom doing music. It kind of gives you like that kind of see.
That tickled me. The only thing that tickled me, like, in that entire thing, and why I suddenly burst out into a smile, obviously none of you who are listening can actually see that, but was because you made it a point to use the word band there.
Yeah. It's that's a weird one. I don't like to use the term band. I usually refer to it as a project, but yeah, everyone else refers to it as a band. If I refer to it as it's confusing. Technically it's a band, I guess, but I usually tend to call it a project because it's just me.
It's with us, like.
So we were talking earlier about technology and how democratizing it's been, right? So where do you lie in terms of the importance of labels? I mean, you've slightly touched upon it, but today, I mean, you've been doing it for a while with Bandcamp. You've got digital distributors, right? I mean, it's as simple today as you finish recording, get the mix and master done, and you can upload it, and that's it. You don't have the whole thing of, release dates and press and all of that.
Even like setting up a merch store or setting up an e-store or, just partnering with your local DHL or whatever courier service, etc. Things are easier, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think you can definitely do a lot yourself. I've always worked with labels for physical releases for the most part, just because labels do still have a purpose for sure. I mean, most labels, even your smaller labels, have at least some sort of distribution. They sometimes have like a dedicated fan base to the label. They have, just support from other people. You can do it yourself, definitely, and a lot of bands do, and are quite successful. But for the most part, there are things that labels can do and are better at doing than me. For example, I mentioned like the promotion side of things, the press side of things. These labels can set up a proper schedule. This is when the most effective time to release the single is. This is when it's best to put pre-orders up. This is the best time to release in this period of time, etc. whereas like a good way to build up hype and things towards your release.
Sure.
And yeah, of course, if it was myself, and if you just upload to Bandcamp and things, a lot of websites don't accept reviews, like review requests or press releases after a release or a certain amount of time.
Which I don't understand at all. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's just that, I mean, there's so many releases coming out. Yeah, it's difficult. I guess
you can't possibly listen, like, because
there's no way you can like possibly listen to each and every metal album
that comes out on a Friday.
Forget a Friday. I mean, yeah. But you know what? I must say this, James, for all the hard work that you do, your PR game is on point, man. You're one of the very few young musicians whose name, if Googled, along with the word interview, will lead to, say, probably up to 5 or 6 pages of fresh interview results.
Okay. I've never done that, so I've got no idea.
That means you're open with your time, you're free with your time, and you understand the importance of doing press as such, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that you need to be, that musicians in today's day and age need to be mindful about?
Yeah, I think so. Usually, in my mind, that kind of thing, it doesn't really. I don't really kind of class it as press. I think it's if people want to interview me or speak to me because they like the music or whatever, then the least I can do is give my time. Yeah. It's the least I can do is to give a little bit of my time to people and speak to people that like my music. I'm very grateful for people's support. I'm happy that people like the music and things. So I speak to people that share similar interests. It's like when I speak to fans of Hellripper, I always speak to the fans. I give them music recommendations. They give me music recommendations. Yeah, it's just a cool way to speak to people with like mutual interests. But yeah, it's definitely important to get your name out there for a new band by doing whatever kind of press, because there's so many new bands, so many new albums coming out every Friday, like you said, that once you release something, the next week you could be forgotten about because there's 50 new great releases and everyone's moved on. So it's like, yeah, you've got to try and be active, or at least in people's minds at all times, kind of, if you know what I mean. And especially now when there's no live shows happening, it's more, there's less ways to get to your fans. I mean, and then that also gives the thing of there's all the more bands now are posting online and more bands are doing things online. So it's kind of even harder at the moment to get noticed or get be heard, if you know what I mean.
Right. So, we've spoken a lot so far and we've not even touched upon the album. So let's start off with the music itself. We'd like to play a track from The Affair of the Poisons. Mm-hmm. Which one should we play and why?
I would say play Blood Orgy of the She-Devils. It's one of my favorites. I think it's a good kind of driving Motorhead type track. That's got a fun chorus. It's kind of got a bouncy rhythm. I think it's just a fun song to listen to. It's not, yeah, I would say that one.
Shadows rising.
So, James, one of the best things about one-man projects is that that one man has got all the control, complete control as such.
Mm.
It means that you're responsible for all the parts, right?
Mhm.
Do you think that's a freeing thing or like a boxing thing? And I'll tell you my perspective where I'm coming from on that. Think of it in this manner. Um, like for instance, the drums on the Affair of the Poisons, they sound excellent, right? But they don't really have a signature style to them. They sound robotic to a point. Given that if you would have brought in a drummer who had his own or her own signature style, it might have led to I don't know. Uh, you
Like a more,
you get where I'm coming from, right?
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's both an advantage and a disadvantage.
Uh-huh.
I think it allows, of course, like you say, yeah, it can kind of box you in or whatever, or maybe like one instrument kind of takes precedent over the other ones, like, if you know what I mean. But on the other end, you don't need to compromise like your music, like your ideas. If someone has an idea, if like a band is like a democracy, and if other people like an idea that I don't like, and then you have to include it in the song, and I'm not a big fan of it, or whatever. So I think, yeah, it's both advantage. There's both advantages and disadvantages, I would say, both in that.
Cool.
Like that.
Completely get that. So here's then the next question then. How much of your time is spent developing and honing skills on other instruments? So through this entire journey of being Hellripper and all the other various musical projects that you are responsible for, how much of your time is now spent on, hey, let me figure out how to make a really cool drum fill, or hey, maybe if I play this on the bass, my guitar will be even better.
Yeah.
From the perspective of a musician who specializes in those instruments.
Yeah. Usually, I don't like practice as such. Like, I don't like go out of my way to practice. Usually, my way to practice is by writing things.
Okay.
And if I come up with I'm always like listening to other music and things, like, so I get inspiration. So I think if I come up with a riff or something on guitar, I then try and figure out the best way to complement that on bass. So I'm always thinking, for example, like what's the best way that the bass would kind of affect the song. Usually, in my style of music and for what I like, usually the bass just kind of follows the guitar. But yeah, I'm a big fan of like bands like the Beatles and things. So their bass style, like Paul McCartney would play different things sometimes on like the first and second verse. He wouldn't play the same thing, even though the guitar would be playing like a similar thing. It's things like that. So I think, the first verse I could play something different to the second verse and things like that. But as in developing my actual like playing ability, I just kind of practice when I write songs. I don't really go out of my way to practice. But sometimes, like, I'll write a really challenging song or an idea that will come to me that I can't play very well originally, so I have to like keep playing and keep practicing in that respect. And sometimes I learn other songs and things, like other people's songs, but that's very rare nowadays. I used to like just play. I used to like learn like the whole Metallica discography and things like that, and play along with like Metallica and stuff. But now, yeah, it's mainly focused on like writing by myself.
Yeah.
And the reason why both Animesh and I smiled is there's a Metallica reference or plug for this episode.
Yeah, but okay. So having said that, have you ever you know of the story of Meshuggah's Bleed, right?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, you've heard the song Bleed, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
Right. Who hasn't? So essentially, that the signature drum part, right? It was written out as programmed, and then the drummer learned how to play it. Okay. Have you encountered something of that sort in your music so far, wherein you've written out a part and then later on realized that, holy shit, if this was to be actually played by a drummer, he wouldn't be able to do it, or by a bassist, he wouldn't be able to do it?
Not too much. I usually have it in my mind where I know what's possible, and it helps that this style of music isn't super technical, doesn't have to be extremely difficult to play in things. Whereas if I was doing like some sort of extreme death metal and I wanted double bass at like 300 beats per minute with drum fill things, of course it would be difficult. But for the most part, I mean, Hellripper's kind of thrash rock and roll type stuff, so I kind of know what's possible in that respect, without having the need for a drummer with 5 arms or whatever.
Yeah, Squidwards. So speaking of which, have you heard of this instrument called the jammy guitar?
Jammy? No, I don't think so.
Check it out, because it seems like it's designed for someone like you.
Okay.
Of course, this is not a plug. Yeah, so I'm just putting it out there. It's not a plug at all, but I thought of it especially because I saw a video of it in the past week or so, and I immediately thought of you and how beneficial this was to one-man projects, essentially, because essentially a MIDI keyboard that's designed for guitarists. Okay, so yeah, check it out. It's called the jammy guitar. The only thing is, it doesn't come in a Gibson Explorer body type yet.
Well, I can't get it then. No, I'll check that out. Yeah, so it could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, check it out. Anyways, Peter.
Right. So one of the things I enjoy about Hellripper is that it makes for like great music for like a drinking session. I mean, I'm not sure if you've been approached already, but the question is, if there had to be a Hellripper beer or whiskey, what would it be and what would it taste like?
Oh, I mean, I would need a signature Buckfast. Are you familiar with Buckfast?
No.
It's it's a drink.
What a Buckfast is?
No, it's like a tonic wine. It's just alcohol and caffeine.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing. It's like a primarily Scottish thing. It's brewed by monks.
Okay.
Or was brewed by monks. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it's just caffeine and alcohol, and the main thing that affects you is like the caffeine. It just
Wow, caffeine and alcohol, does that even go together? I mean, isn't like alcohol supposed to relax you? And
that's the thing, right? I mean, that's like a bullfrog, or I don't know, Red Bull and a vodka. That's what the thing has an effect on you. It works both ways.
But yeah, that's a fucking excellent answer.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can get it elsewhere. I'm not sure if you can get it outside the UK, or I've got no idea.
Yeah, I'll look it up definitely. Coming to my next question, I mean, you touched upon this slightly, so I definitely want to hear more. In addition to Hellripper, you also have a death metal project, which is Lord Rot, and a not so metal project, Lock Howl. So my initial question when I came across that is, when do you sleep? And the second is, how do you manage all of them together?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, in the past couple of years, Loch Howl and Lord Rot I haven't really done much with them because I've been focusing on Hellripper. So yeah, that's kind of helped, I guess. The fact that Hellripper's more active than those two. But yeah, those are just things. I'm a big fan of those styles of music. So yeah, ideas come to me and I write the music.
But is that something that you're planning on changing? Because you said you're writing other stuff also earlier.
I've got no idea what's going to happen. I am writing. I've got so many things that I should be releasing at some point, like different projects, at least 5 more or something at some point, as well as the Lord Rot and Loch Howl things. I'm still working on new material for those. But yeah, I haven't really planned for what's going to happen when they release. In terms of like live shows and things, Hellripper will be the focus. I don't really think I'll be touring with those other projects, but so that helps a lot, I guess. That kind of gives me more time for Hellripper and things. But yeah, I haven't really decided what's going to happen when when things get released. It's been quite a while since I released another, like a different thing that was not Hellripper. And in that time, Hellripper's kind of grown quite a bit. So yeah, I've got no idea what it's going to entail, like having 2-3 things going on at the same time.
Yeah, but since, I mean, looking at how prolific you are, have you already started on working on the next Hellripper release? We scheduled for something next year?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through writing.
Wow.
Yeah, so my aim is either this time next year or the spring of 2022. It just depends on both when I get things done and when the label thinks is the best time and stuff like that. So yeah, New Hellripper will be sooner than the wait for this album, which was 3 years in between.
Turning gears around to something that I read about in an old interview of yours, where you say that your guitar hero is John Frusciante, who's back in RHCP now, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, I associate him with RHCP too. I thought he was the best of all of RHCP's guitarists.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, we generally expect to hear the name of a shredder or a riff machine guitarist from someone named Hellripper. But explain to us, what can metal musicians learn from John Frusciante?
I think what I've taken from him, I mean, I think he's just really good at like phrasing. If you listen to his guitar solos, sometimes he does kind of shred and things, but of course it's more melodic and things. And I think that's been a big influence on my guitar playing, especially if you listen to some of my guitar solos. I try and make them more melodic as well as like shredding. And one of the things that I noticed that I do a lot that is a big influence, that's a big thing taken from him, is like his funk style of playing. So he's always moving his right hand, basically. So if in some of my solos, there's like, what do you call it? Not palm mutes, but like I'm muting the notes with my right hand in between notes and kind of I try to give some of the solos like a bouncy, jumpy kind of feel. I think an example of that would be in the Affair of the Poisons, the guitar solo for that. It's kind of, for lack of a better word, like some parts are like dancey, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like jumpy and things. So I think that's one thing that I've taken from that. Like, but yeah, in terms of just like, yeah, melody really. I mean, John Frusciante's kind of takes a lot from Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, he does.
So yeah, if you listen to Jimi Hendrix, his guitar solos and things like that, there's like cool melodic kind of things, like songs within a song in his guitar solos, but also he was just crazy, making all sorts of noises and things like that. So there's a lot to be learned from any like different kind of music, I think.
Of course.
Not just any guitarist that plays a different style of music, you can take that and apply it to what you want to do. That's what I try and do a lot. Another big influence is Angus Young. So I try and a lot of Hellripper solos and things are like kind of blues, like Angus Young things, just faster. So yeah, I think, listen to as much different things as you can.
So while you were learning your Metallica discography, were you also learning the entire RHCP catalog?
Most of it, but Metallica definitely helps with the rhythm playing, the down picking, and things like that. And then you can go on to Slayer for the alternate.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, once you've done Metallica, then you move to Slayer.
Yeah, so there's just like influences coming from all of these bands. I mean, Metallica with the down picking rhythm, Slayer with the alternate picking kind of things, and just try and kind of get influence from as much as you
can. The fretting hand really gets developed with at least older Slayer, like the first couple of album Slayers. Anyways, so here's a slight fun question then. What's a dream support lineup as such for you? Would you envision Hellripper live, like completely hypothetical dream scenario? You can pick and choose any musician you want.
Yeah, live or dead.
Live or dead. Would it be like, we can help you just structure it? So would it be a 5-piece band or a 6-piece band? And would you opt to front the band a la, say, Hetfield or Mustaine? Or would you let a vocalist come in and take over? Or
I think I would prefer to play guitar if I could get a better vocalist. There's so many things to consider, whether the songs would be good, whether these guys would fit in with each other and things, because there's like...
Assume that they will. Assume that they are all session
musicians. They will. So on vocals, I'd get some like deep death growls, like from Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth, like his death growl style. I love that. Dave Mustaine would be cool. Just, he's a crazy guitarist. Jeff Waters from Annihilator, they would be cool.
Nice.
Do I have to be in the band, or can I just...
You have to.
Someone has to teach them all of this, right?
Go for a 3-guitar lineup. I'll play guitar with with Dave Mustaine and Jeff Waters. I'll have Les Claypool from Primus on bass.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And drums, who would I go? I think I would go for like one of these, like Marco Miniman or Hannes Grove or something on drums. Something. So
now, super group that I would like insane amounts of money to see.
I don't know why. I just had like a vision of James playing one of those like fantasy games, but here you pick your band members, and he's like maxed out on all his allowance. Like,
insane lineup, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure how what it would sound like.
No, they're all playing Hellripper music.
Oh, okay. That'd be fine then. If you add some Les Claypool like slap bass to Hellripper, then that would work, I think.
Yeah, I think the Les Claypool edition is what really got me going. I was like, holy shit, that's going to completely, maybe not completely change your sound, but it's going to add so much. I don't even know if it's unnecessary or not, but that's the first came to mind. Unnecessary dynamics.
And I don't know why.
Was always necessary.
I was just thinking, can you imagine? I'm sure, I can't remember which band was it. Van Halen also, like their what's the thing they get post or pre gigs?
A rider?
Yeah, so I'm just kind of imagining what Hellripper's rider will be with all these guys on board. It's like each one needs like
Colored M&Ms. Tough luck finding those. Anyways, on that note, James, it's been an awesome 45 minutes or so that we've spent with you. Thank you so much for sparing some time and chat with us.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate you guys taking your time out as well. It's been fun.
Yeah, this was good fun. Can't wait to hear what other things you have in store, and we hope that we get to hear stuff, hear more stuff soon. And also, yes, we'll try how we can smuggle some merchandise into India legally. My brother is in Kent, so yeah.
Okay.
That's why.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, but no, seriously though, I was actually just looking it up because I was checking out your merch, and I was surprised because typically for India on Bandcamp, you literally pay the same amount for merch is shipping.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
But
it's just whatever price the mail company here is charging. I've got no idea what it is, but
yeah. So Scotland is way better than London or anywhere else in England at least.
It should be the same price. I'm not. I don't even know. I'll need to check. But yeah.
Because I like the Hellripper Scotland tee. That's a nice one.
Goat t-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you the one who's wearing the horse mask? The goat mask.
Yeah. That's my real face. This is a mask that I have on right now.
Oh, good. Because I found that funny. I was like, wow, like someone you actually got someone.
Yeah. No, but seriously, man, what you're doing is fucking amazing, and we're glad that we were able to do this.
Yeah.
Thank you. No problem at all, man. It was really fun. Like I say, really appreciate you guys taking your time out. I'm glad you guys like the music, and yeah, thank you very much.
Now, we've already spoken about our dream lineups, right? So I'm not going to get into that aspect. So humor me on this, Peter. If you were to start a one-man music project, what genre do you think you'd end up with?
Wow. I think black metal only. Just for nothing else is because I can get away with lo-fi production.
You can get away with lo-fi production and call it old school in practically every genre.
No, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Animesh? I know you play in a black metal band and a punk band, but if it was up to you all alone, what would you do?
Crappy Hindi punk, or actually no, man, like it would just end up being like a regurgitated mess of the old school Iron Maiden, Angel Witch, High Spirits, that kind of a sound, I guess.
Wow.
So yeah, retro thrash.
Wow.
Or retro old school new wave of British heavy metal. That's the kind of music I grew up with. And yeah, I think those will be the primary influences.
Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't disappoint me by saying I'd be a singer-songwriter.
What's the harm, man? What's the harm? Fuck, that's a question we should have asked James, right? What's his opinion on being seen as a singer-songwriter? Because that's what he is.
Technically, yeah, but...
Right? Hey, what do you guys think? What genre would you end up with if you had to start a one-man music project? We'd be happy to talk to you about it. And yes, we still don't bite. Hit us up. We are at hornsupod.com, or you can catch us on the Twitter machine. We are at hornsupod. I'm at Asmoani.
And I'm at Trend Crusher.
This is Horns Up.
Horns up, guys.